Just getting home from training. So, what are you grateful for today?
Something I'm grateful for is school starting back. I'm grateful for that. Not only me, but that everybody started school and everybody's doing well. So
Very good. So you started this week. So you start today with homeschool.
yes, sir.
Cool. Um, yeah, I'm very grateful that I got to meet with people I used to work with, and I was received well. So that was nice. Nothing negative today, and just nothing but positivity. So it's a good way to start the school year, and with good
Okay.
changes coming up. So very grateful. And I printed out your essay. I'm going to grab it real fast.
Okay.
Okay. So I wrote down a plan for today and for Wednesday, and so basically it looks like we're winding down. Um, and I'm going to add something to this because something I forgot to write down, and that would be that. All right. Okay. So I have some good news. First, let's take an overview here. So, I think I mentioned you're able to, if you'd like to, if you feel comfortable doing a video. If not, it could be a written testimonial. It'd be something that I can use if I might potentially post it to my Facebook group page, which has 184 parents on it. And it usually it's either an interview with the student where somebody like myself is just talking with a student about how they did and kind of like their journey, how they feel about it. So there's that format. There's the other format where and I need to get the information for you because I think that there's a series of steps that will help you. And I don't want to go too deep into that because um I'd rather give you that information separately. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'll steps post to Google Classroom and email and to mom. Okay. Yeah. So you can think about that if you want to do that. You could always do a and written testimonial, how you're benefiting, what you like about the tutoring, and
Hmm.
whether or not you feel this would help others. And then, so I'll probably give you that information between now and Wednesday. So let's say by tomorrow morning or evening. And then, um, so what we'll do today, we're going to do radar. So radar is basically how you revise. And there's no way that this essay is going to be done today, right? But there's a
Yeah.
lot here, and you might even finish it by Wednesday. That's great if that's the target you set. I think that's a good goal, but that would probably require some homework. So just something to think about. The other thing to think about, and let's see. Um, so radar is we'll walk through together and you'll get a taste for what it is. And you'll kind of see how messy the process is. and we'll talk about some revision strategies that I think have worked for me because I think you have a lot of time. But the tricky part when you have a lot of time is that you may put it off. So I have an idea for how you can actually work with it that you might like, and it might be 15 minutes a week with me, perhaps.
Okay.
Okay. So and I'll talk more about that. So I do have a 12-week program coming up. I have one student signed up for it already,
Hmm.
but I'm trying my hardest to get 5 to 10 students because I think that there's a way in which like what you and I have done can go a lot faster in some ways because sometimes you learn from different students. And
Yeah.
sometimes you can have a breakout session where you're connecting with somebody and and so I don't kid myself that even though I'm a teacher, I have experience and I've done this, I've done that kind of writing, that it's not necessarily the best. The one-on-one is not necessarily the best. It's tremendous, right? I think
Hmm.
I've really seen you grow and I've seen you feel more comfortable, just being one-on-one. But I think that it's almost like having, if you have a football coach and you're working with that person on your tackle or your your running, your running game, for example. Eventually, at some point, you want to be with your team,
Yes, sir.
right? You want to see this stuff kind of like bouncing off other people, because then it gets your mind ready for that real world, that game. And so I think, and that's the thing about writing is that your audience, who you write to, a lot of times when you have more people on the session, it opens up more parts of your brain that you want to communicate in different ways and it makes it easier for you. The 12-week program is going to start on Monday of next week, Mondays and Wednesdays from 4:30 to 5:30. So it's a half an hour later than what you are used to. So I'll talk to your mom about that, but let me show you that real quickly and then at let's say about 4:15 by 4:15 we'll start. Um
Okay.
so basically it's the writing process. It's narrative writing, for example, for 4 weeks, and you have one essay, you're given the exact essay prompt day one. And then on day one, let's say first week, we take that writing process and with every new session, because there's 8 sessions in a 4-week time frame, because there's right 2 a week, 2 week, two. So 4 weeks, you have 8 sessions. And that writing process, which is 6 steps, we're going to take you through that. So whereas what you and I did here was mostly pre-writing, that was weeks and weeks of pre-writing, just gathering information. And it was very appropriate to what we're working on. But in the tutoring, it's going to be a little bit faster paced and it
Yeah.
won't be as big. It'll be kind of like easier to work with because you're dealing with maybe one question, one reading passage, and you're responding to that. You have one
Hmm.
thesis and it just um it's a different thing. um I feel really good about that. It's been easy to sell and I've sold it. And to give you a perspective, and I know that your mom has some concerns with the financial side of things
Hmm.
right now. um so I'm willing to work with her on that and and just get you in no matter how I can, if you
Yeah.
want. So that's something you can think about. And if you feel comfortable telling me what you would like to do right now, you can. If you don't feel comfortable, you're like, well, I'll just think about it. I don't really want to be put on the spot right now. That's okay too.
Yeah, I'm probably more than likely just gonna go think about it and go over things with my mom because her input is just important as mine, but my input is the one that weighs the most. So I'll probably go
Yeah.
over things with my mom to see how she's feeling and things of that nature.
Yeah. Yep. So it's 12 weeks, but you'd be a very confident writer at the end of that.
Yeah.
Um, you would because basically we're doing narrative writing and then we would do analytical writing and then we do like maybe take a stand like some sort of persuasive, or we could do steps in the process. Like it might be like I'm gonna explain to you how to cook a fantastic pasta or something like that. It might be something
Yeah,
along those lines. So it's kind of three different things there. All right. So how do you feel about the testimonial side of things? Is that something you'd be okay with, or something you want to think about?
that's something that I'll take about as well. But I do feel good about that.
Okay. Sounds good. Okay. All right. So I think what we'll do is I'll reach out to your mom, and I'm hoping that Wednesday what I could do is show you guys the program. So why don't we do that? If it'd be better for both of you, then we can schedule a time where I can kind of like show you a series of slides,
Hmm.
and then you can kind of see it more visually and kind of make a more clear decision on what it
Okay.
looks like for you. Yeah. Because if you're anything like me, I'm more of a visual person. Like it's hard for me to just make a decision unless I can kind of see how it fits with my life and um, what it looks like from a bird's eye view.
Hmm.
Yep. Okay. So let's see. Okay. So let's look at radar right now. And so if you're in the Google Doc, which we want to
Yeah, I
be,
am.
okay, cool. I'm going to do that, do this. Ooh, I'm right there. Okay, I have to change who I'm signed up under. E. There we go. Oops. I'm gonna have to minimize this. Okay, there you go. Now I can see both of you, screen and you. So so radar basically, and let me expand this a little bit. So if you look at page, it's going to be page 6, I believe, towards the bottom. This is a 4-step method. So if you want to go ahead and read the first, read if you could read every other. So like read number 1, number 3, and
Yeah.
right. So
Okay. So number one, this is a four-step method. Number one, R stands for replace.
A stands for add,
D stands for delete.
and R stands for reorder. Okay, so we have replace things, we have add things in, which we've been doing a lot of.
Hmm.
Um, D stands for delete. We'll work on that. Replace just means obviously if you tell a story, you might tell a different story and put that in its place. You can
Hmm.
do that with sentences. And the R stands for reorder. So that's where we get to move things around. Um, I think the best way to approach this is to see what's there. So what you do is you replace words that are too general, confusing sentences, and you add new support, descriptive adjectives and adverbs. Delete off-topic ideas, sentences that sound good but do not fit the topic, repetitive words or ideas, unnecessary details. And reorder is to make better sense. So details support the main idea. So you might just break it down into different parts and then move those parts around. Okay. Um, I don't really want to add any more other than I would say looking at Oregon. If you want to read this for us, this paragraph right here called "We Are Ducks,"
Yes. Yeah.
and we're going to look at we're going to look at some of these values, and then we'll tuck them in the back of our mind for now, and then as we go through this, actually we'll discuss it now how we might add some of these into your draft. So go ahead and read that paragraph.
Okay. We are ducks. Ducks dive into learning and research, looking for answers to some of humanity's biggest questions. We're passionate about nature and technology, music and science, abstract art and discrete mathematics, business innovation and human service. We believe in respect and inclusion, open conversations, and rewarding collaborations. We work hard, play productively, and pursue life changing knowledge in one of our planet's most beautiful places.
Okay, read that second time to yourself silently, and then what I'm going to ask you is, how do you feel that you embody one or more of these values, and in how so? Right. So go ahead and reread through that, and I'll grab my water real fast. So, which of these do you feel you more closely match in terms of um, either your essay or kind of what's important to you?
Um, I will say for sure, the part where it says we're passionate about nature. Another thing I'll say is we the part where it says we work hard, play productively, and pursue life changing knowledge in one of our planet's most beautiful places. Open conversations as well. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
You said work hard,
Yes, sir.
play hard, play productively, and pursue life-changing knowledge. How so are you passionate about nature?
It's kind of hard to say because I just know that when it comes to like nature and stuff like that, and it comes to like the human body anatomy, things like that, I like me and my mom go back and forth about stuff all the time, and I just randomly like ask her questions about things, and like I'll just ask her like, "What, like, mom, why is this way?" or something like that. I'm just very big on nature, and I just like to see how everything just comes together. I'm a very curious person when it comes to those things. Like I always want to know like why is it this way and why it can't be this way or something like that.
Are you curious about any of your you talk about being disciplined, why people are not disciplined. You talk about service beyond oneself. And is there anything about that that gets you kind of, well, not emotional, but really charged up, if you will, about humanity? Because I'm looking at this, looking for answers to some of humanity's biggest questions. So you're curious. Are you ever curious also about um, I'm taking your values basically. And for example, I'm creative, right? So
Mhm.
I oftentimes don't understand why people don't allow themselves to be creative, why they say things like, I'm not a good drawer, I'm not a writer, I'm never a painter, I'm not a creative person. But I see that people can be creative if you give them a chance.
Hmm.
So for me, it almost um, makes me feel like it's something I want to solve. I want to help people to become more creative. It's part of what I do in my writing tutoring, my regular tutoring, is get people to write about their lives. I'm so fascinated, right?
Yes, sir.
Um, is there something you want to bring to humanity through your own leadership as you're contributing to others? Who are you and why does it matter, right? So entering a
Hmm.
college community, you're somebody who perhaps you're curious about how to help other people in those values.
Hmm. One thing I'll say is getting like you were saying, like how there's people that are creative, but they trying to like sort of like somewhat like hide their talent. Like one thing I want to do, like in the future and stuff like that, I want to like is getting people out of their shell. I want to like expand like things that people can do. Like for example, like something I'm something I may secretly be good at is, playing the trombone or something. But a lot of people wouldn't know that. Then if somebody asked, "Oh, do I play instruments or something?" I give them an answer like, "Oh no, I'm not really interested in that stuff." Like people hiding their talents and hiding their creativeness is something that I want to try to, help with that aspect because there's people can really become the next generation of something down their family just doing something that they're very creative and passionate about, but yet they're still hiding it and not wanting to do it because that's something they don't have passion in.
They don't have passion in it. And so you're saying it's because um, they don't think of themselves as being creative, that
Yeah,
they don't apply themselves. So in other words, they could be good at something if they would only just allow their creative side to come and use
yes,
that
sir.
within that. Okay.
Like in sports, it happened in sports all the time. I don't know if you remember, like I was saying, like the defensive back who went to Alabama, his name was Trayvon Diggs. He was a wide receiver before becoming a cornerback, and he was telling Nick Saban and his brother, which is Stephon Diggs, who was a receiver now for the Houston Texans. He was telling him, I'm not good at defensive back. I'm not good at defensive back. That's not what I play. I'm a wide receiver." And he tried it out, and now he's an all pro, Pro Bowler, all NFL first team, and all these accolades and awards just for putting work into something that, although he wasn't passionate about it first. Now he is, based off the rewards he's getting. Now he has a mass contract with his team. So
Great example. That creative. Oops, I had it right. Okay. I think this might be able to go into your conclusion. Okay, let's park this for a while. We'll come back to this. I'm going to make this red only because I think that's the color that you used before.
yeah,
I have to expand this a little bit. Give me a second. And if you will, do you think that curiosity here goes more with science, perhaps? I mean, it does kind of go with nature more broadly, but I think more specifically, it's the scientific inquiry where you're curious about a particular thing, how it works, why it works.
I definitely think it goes with science, and that curiosity in science term will kind of fall under the category of like a, not really, but kind of like a hypothesis of like something you think of, like a,
Yes.
if such and such happened, then such and such happened, which is really a guess, but
Yeah.
without a your curiosity.
Right. Okay. Scientific method. Now, does anything jump out at you in terms of how, sorry, let me just move things around a little bit. What's going on? Never mind. The spacing is kind of off, but I'm not going to take time to fix that. Um, all right, let's ask this question. Then we're going to dive back into your essay. I just wanted to capture these thoughts. Is there an obvious way that occurs to you that you might include your curiosity and creativity into your essay? And it's
Um,
okay if nothing comes to you right away.
I'm not sure. I can't really think of nothing.
Okay. Because I think if you use yourself as an example, you're already telling your story. This, what you're saying here about other people, about helping them to get out of their shell, I think you naturally want to help other people. That's
Hmm.
my understanding of you. Um, okay, I'm just kind of putting words in your mouth here, but is it fair to say I want to lead people and show them that it's okay to try new things?
That's fine to say, yes, sir.
Okay, so I'm going to put this in brackets, which we keep coming back to. Who I am and why does it matter? That's what colleges want to know. All right. So when we're thinking about, excuse me, about my coughing here, revising in radar, I still think that we're in the ad stage, which is fine because you're going to have plenty of time to do this. Okay. I think once you tell your story, it's going to be easy to say things like this in your commentary. So typically, when we write, we tell a story, and this is the expressive part of writing. So I went, oh, sorry. I went to the beach, right? That's
Hmm.
basically expressive writing and had fun. Oops, fun in the sun. But that's not reflective. It doesn't say something about that. It just tells you what that is, right?
Hmm.
There's no why. And there's no, it's so someone may ask the question, so what? What's the point? You have to learn to ask yourself that question. The answer to so what is the reflective part. So I'm going to put this here, expressive. Reflective is what it means to us or what it could mean to somebody else. This was my first time with my family in summer, something we all needed. Now you're telling me what it means.
Hmm.
So in your essay, when you say something in your, I don't like the paragraphing here. Let me do something here. Format, line and paragraph spacing, single. There we go. Okay. You might say something like, weird. I don't know why this space is like that. You might say something like, I got held back and it was frustrating. New set of friends and old ones gone. I know I'm breaking a rule here. It's not a complete sentence in this second, but something,
Hmm.
if you know the rule, you can sometimes break the rule and it's okay. As long as you know what you're doing. Now, that is the expressive part of your story. Let's put some reflection in it. And guess what? Guess where the reflection is going to come from, I think.
The like reasoning of it, like how
Well,
did it?
well, what material, what have we written that where we're going to find material for that? Well, it's right here in the red. When you're talking about we are ducks,
Oh yeah.
I want to get people out of their shell, right?
Hmm.
Um, so here's what we could say here. It gave me empathy, understanding for what others. There you go. Um, at University of Oregon, I know there may be students who all right. See what I've done here?
Hmm.
I've answered the question who I am in some degree, and also why does it matter? Why it matters to college is what you're going to add to their university. So here's what happened to you. You got held back. It was frustrating. But they're going to ask, like, so what? Why is he telling me this? Right? Because like if there's no point to a story. I mean, they'll listen to it the first time, but they'll be like, okay, a nice story. Let's read the next essay, right?
Hmm.
Reflective part of it tells them why. It gave me empathy and understanding what others may go through. At University of Oregon, I know that there may be students who change majors because of a failure. I know many will want to give up. I can help them use their creativity to land on a different major and have the courage to try something new. So, um, so that's just an example of where we can add this information you put up here. And if you do that, you're talking about creativity. Um, you're talking about this scientific inquiry or scientific method, or as you said, hypothesizing. And and here's how we can do it. Watch this. Um, you can do another example where um, okay, you're curious about things, right? So what you can do instead of taking a lot of time for this, couldn't you say something like, I'm very curious about the world, and I've been very curious about the world, how it works. I've always have had a scientific mind about my problems. And so when one of the football players that inspired me changed positions and he ended up becoming, an all league performer, right? He won
Mm-hmm.
well, I think I don't remember, she said MVP or something. And so I use my curiosity to solve problems, just like football. Like, okay, there's three guys that are bigger than me trying to block me. How can I find a way around them? Right. So that's the
Mm-hmm.
value that you bring to University of Oregon. When they read about that, they're going to see scientific inquiry in a new light. Like, whoa, this dude is talking about he's got a scientific mind, but he's flipping it to where he can help other people. See that?
Yes, sir.
So it basically, if somebody comes to you, says, Izzy, like, I hate the school, I'm ready to give up. I thought I was going to go into computer science, and it turns out it's not for me. And so I don't know what to do. And you'll be like, well, guess what? I'm curious about what would happen if you tried this other thing. And so let's try to help you through that, because like that's what happened to me in football. Like I had to change things, and back when I was in high school, I got held back 1 year and I thought it was the end. And but I learned new things about myself through that.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So okay, enough about that. Um what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick this up and I'm going to drop it in your essay. Uh, right here. Format. I prevent single lines. Don't do that. Okay, let me think I figured out how to fix this spacing here. Okay, I'm gonna leave that alone. All right, so what we're gonna do now, um, is take like a 1 minute break to just kind of zone out, and we'll zone back
Mm-hmm.
in, and then we'll jump into the rest of this.
Okay.
All right, so we'll take a minute. I'll set my timer. All right. Another 30 seconds, actually. I gave us 2 minutes.
Okay.
Okay. Um, okay, what I want to do here is I think the easiest thing that we can do is there's a lot of writing here. So what I want to do at this point is we can either read through the whole thing, but there's some obvious things that we can take out. And so let's talk about these different sections here. So let's take this a piece at a time. And so let's just focus on removing.
Okay.
Hello there. You're probably wondering who I am. Well, let me tell you, I am just a kid who was born and raised here in the Sunshine State. Although some of my days can be dark clouds and rain, but some of my days are definitely sunshine and rainbows. Honestly, I don't even know where I should start. Should I start from my young self around the time I was in elementary school? Because, in all honesty, from the ages of months to about 5 to 6 years old, our lives are about the same. They consist of the same things. But what makes my life different from others, maybe because I grew up with my two cousins who I call my brother and sister, or is it maybe because I can't even remember one small detail about my dad when I was that young? But I do remember the impact my mom has had on me still till this day. Um, what's worth keeping here? Um, I feel like, and what I'm going to do is right now, I'm doing kind of workshop style. In a workshop, basically, you're sitting in a room with 5 other people, 10 other people, and everybody has the essay in front of them. And then the one person, let's say it's you, at first you don't really get to talk. Other people get to talk about your essay.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end, you can say what you thought. You could say, well, I agree with him, but I disagree with what she's saying. I think it's better to keep this because you are ultimately the writer.
Mm-hmm.
So remember, this is just my opinion. I kind of done that already. Um, to answer the question, who am I? My mom could probably answer that. So what I wrote here, remember, I am curious at this point as to what specific qualities or experiences are most significant about your mom. You did mention those things, um, which we're going to get to. But also, I wrote down here, I think previously, you could start the essay with this and think of visual examples. Describing an event using as many of the 5 senses as possible will make it stick in the reader's mind. So, what I would say the writer can do differently is the writer can keep this sentence here. Where is it? I do remember the impact my mom has on me since till this day. Basically, what you're saying is as long as you could remember, you knew the influence that she had upon you.
Yes, sir.
Sure. So what I'm thinking we do is we shorten it. We cut out what I would do as a writer is I would probably cut out these things. And you can say, although I can't remember much about my dad, I can remember everything about my mom because of the impact she's had. It's always been with me. Um, so that's kind of sets the stage for the essay.
Mm-hmm.
Do you agree with that? What are your thoughts about that?
Honestly, I agree with it. I do.
All
Because
right,
the stuff
now,
that I was saying in the beginning, like I'm sorry, but like the stuff I was saying in the beginning, like I said, I'm just a kid who was born and raised in the Sunshine State. Or some of my days can dark. That's something I could get to more the more I go into like the essay. So I agree with what you said. That stuff can get cut out from the
okay.
beginning.
All right. So I'm going to do format tools. I'm looking for a strike through. Um, yeah, for some reason I can't find the strike through format. Uh, Paragraph styles, text. Here we go. All right. I'm going to put a transition in here, although I can't remember. Okay. Um, Now, do you agree to answer the question, who am I? My mom could probably answer that question the best. She knows every little bit about me. I don't think that's needed because you're going to be telling that story in your essay. They know that your mom's not going to write it. They are not going to talk to your mom.
Yeah.
So can I remove that?
Yeah, you can. I agree with that.
Okay. All right. So we're going to do that. I'm going to try to find this a little bit faster this time. Format. Okay. Format text strike through. Control Alt Shift 5. Okay. There we go. Okay, this, I'm going to get rid of what I said here because that's kind of not necessary at this point. My mom has a lot of qualities, but I have to say her best one by far is the fact that she never gives up. Now, would it be okay for time if I just start to make these changes? Because what I'm thinking you could say, my mom never gives up.
Yeah.
And so, Izzy, what I'm doing now, this is how I write. Okay. Um, Now, we could have easily gone to AI and I could have plugged it in and asked it, give me the thinking map that this would fit into. Then we would look at one of the 8 like graphic organizers, and then
Hmm.
we take this information from your essay and put it into there. That's one of the approaches we could take, but I don't want to put your essay here into kind of like a box, if you will.
Yeah.
I just want to go with what you've written. So when I'm doing this kind of writing, what my job is I'm trying to see the forest for the trees. All this stuff here we're going to get rid of. When we do get rid of it and erase it, hopefully we end up from this to this. When we have it this size, we can kind of see what's there. and it's easier to
Yeah.
move things around. So we have to see what's there. We have to see what you wrote because your writing is the boss. We're treating what you wrote as sacred
Hmm.
because you've done such a marvelous job of putting all these things into it. So we have to think that we have to understand there's gold in here. This is worth gold. Now, a lot of it comes with gold, right? When you're searching for gold, you have a lot of rocks, you have a lot of dirt, a lot of soot, a lot of mud, a lot of all that. So we're going to sift and sort all that stuff. Then we'll get it to the point where we can say, okay, now we got this nugget, that gold nugget. Does the bigger one come before the smaller one or vice versa? But right now it's way too difficult because there's so much material there. All we're doing is cutting down on the amount of material. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. Um, my mom never gives up and will do anything it takes. Okay, great. And I would say all of this is an example. I don't want to spend too much time on it. We can come back later and say, do you like this example? But for now, let's keep it. We can shorten it later or take it out. But I do think I think you put it there. I love it because it's very specific. When I see that in a student's writing, I don't take it away very easily because it might end up in the final essay. You could start the essay with this and think of visual examples, describe an event using as many of the five senses as possible. Is there something that comes to mind? And that an example, you remember your mom doing something for you, and it really showed you what your mom was all about in terms of being that person who inspires other people, makes them happy.
Um, it's not necessarily that I've like seen, but like I like my mom used to do she used to work with foster care like type of children, and like the things that she would tell me like what she did with certain kids, like just to see like how she makes one like an individual day better used to just be very inspiring because that kid could have been going through a bad day and my mom stepped in on the occasion and made that person's day way better by just having a simple talk with them or something. So, and it's a lot of things that she did more than just that I have good memory of.
Okay, that's what I did there. All right. My mom is my everything, although this isn't about her, it's about me. She is. Okay. Are you trying to say that you've noticed that you've taken after your mom?
Yeah.
Okay. What did I just say? You you're you do things the way that your mom has done, or you've noticed things about your
I'm
mom and
noticing,
yourself?
yeah,
I noticed my mother and myself. Okay. Okay, let's wind down for the day. My that time just goes by so fast. Um, all right, so here's an idea. I think we can do more of this slash, kind of going through this and removing things. I don't know how comfortable you feel with continuing that process, maybe shortening things. We can do this together. We'll have at least 30 minutes on Wednesday to do it.
hmm,
And then if you guys in fact decide to continue with the tutoring starting next week, and it might start a couple weeks after that. It just depends on how soon I can get 5 to 10 students. Um, what you could do, and if, I don't know if you like meeting on Fridays, but I always have an office hour on Friday, so we could spend 15 to 30 minutes perhaps. I definitely would not recommend an entire hour session unless you wanted to. Um, I'm going to make myself available to that, but I don't want you to feel burnt out. Um,
I
but
have
I
to
think
ask.
if you did,
I'm sorry for cutting you off, but I have to ask what time specifically Friday,
it would be so starting in the fall it would be 4:30. Um,
which is
well,
seven
actually
thirty my time.
7:30 your time, right?
Yeah, that wouldn't work because of the my football season because that's Friday is game day, and my game
Oh,
starts
that's right.
usually around 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. So
Okay, right. Um, yeah, if you wanted to be part of the tutoring, I mean, we could do it on Saturdays,
okay,
you know, or if that works. And it can be morning, it can be earlier. And like I said, I don't want to take a lot of your time, um, because my main concern is that we don't give up on this, and you're so close to really getting to a great part in this, which is seeing what's there, because there's a lot of good stuff here. And I think once you see it kind of like condensed, then I can talk to you about how you feel about going this direction with it, going that direction.
yes,
And
sir.
then we can easily see what's there.
Okay,
So, all right. So I I don't really have any homework for you other than if you want to, I'll write this down. Um, I would say optional. Oops, optional homework. All right, we're gonna do this. So, oops. Start to remove wordiness and try to say something I call it rambling, right?
yes, sir.
I know that sounds negative, but you did exactly what I wanted you to do. I wanted you to ramble
Hmm.
because that's where it's kind of like looking for gold, right? If you don't go in the dirt, if you don't pick it up, you don't find any gold.
Yes, sir.
So, um, yeah, so that's what I would do. And then decide if, um, see if you need to add any transition words like and, but, however, also, things like that, just to
Hmm.
tie one sentence to the next to see where the idea is going. Or add stories, replace. So there's the add, here's the R remove. I'm going to capitalize those. And then here's the replace. Replace general sentences with examples.
Yes, sir.
You can just do it at random. Don't don't feel like you have to do the whole essay. Just start at the top and do what's as easy as possible. Like if the first section, first couple of paragraphs are kind of difficult to do this with, skip down to the last part. That's what I like to do. Just do the easy stuff first and then go back to the top and see, now that I feel better about what I'm doing, then I can do that.
Okay.
And this would be our goal to end up with, well, that's okay. I'm not going to put a limit on a paragraph number or something like that. I think that's too much to think about. I just want to keep it really simple for you.
Okay.
Yep. And then next session, I will explain 12. Wait. I'll just call it a scholarship. So to help you guys out. All right, Izzy. All right. One thing that helped you today, one thing that you found useful.
Something that I found useful was definitely strategy. I'll say strategy. Talking about, like the nature and things of that nature of what we were talking about and stuff. That
Yeah.
definitely will help me with my essay. So that.
Okay. Super. Okay. Well, you have a terrific day and stay cool out there. And is it starting to cool down there in Florida?
Yes, sir.
It is?
Yes, sir.
That's really good. All right. Take it easy.
You too. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye
Bye.
bye.